August the 3rd, 2021. As you're looking at the wide Atlantic satellite view, this is from the National Hurricane Center. We talked about in a video a couple days ago that starting in August and going up to the peak on September the 10th, that we should see some elevated tropical activity. Off the coast of Africa, which is to the right in this image, there's two systems that have come off. One came off yesterday. It's 10% chance of development. We'll look at that. And guys, it is located right here. And let me point this out. Right there. Now, the Cabo Verde Islands are here. Once this storm, which is moving again in this direction, gets north of the Cabo Verde Islands, two things are going to happen. It's going to be entangled in the Saharan dust layer and cooler water. So there's not much chance of it developing. But the system that right here is it's getting night off the coast of Africa. This is the one that has a better chance of development, and it's projected to move to the west. But let me take that off and we'll take a look at it again. You see as the sun is setting in Africa. Right there, we've got two systems. Now, not a lot is showing up anywhere else in the Atlantic and the Caribbean, just some flare-up thunderstorms. But it's getting now to the point where we're going to have to pay attention to this. And again, the peak will be in around 5 weeks. And let's look at the 5-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center. Two storms, one here, or two areas are watching disturbance. Number one, it's just a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 5 days. This was a 2 p.m. Eastern update, which would have been about an hour and a half ago. A small area of low pressure with some associated showers and thunderstorms is located about 100 miles south of Praia in the Cabo Verde Islands. Significant development of this system is not expected during the next day or two due to unfavorable upper-level winds and marginally warm waters. They're not, again, it's getting less warm there. It's cooler waters. The low is forecast to move northward or northwestward through Thursday before the system moves over cooler waters, ending development chances. Locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds are possible over portions of the Cabo Verde Islands through Wednesday. Guys, again, these are the islands just north of this center of this disturbance. Your second area, and that's the one we're going to have to pay attention to. Now, we don't know how far this is going to make it across Atlantic. It's early in the game, but we are getting into that time of the year, and we need to pay attention. This is 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, again, an hour and a half ago. Tropical wave is forecast to move off the west coast of Africa by late Thursday. Notice this one has a 20% chance of development. This system has the potential for slow development over the far eastern Atlantic through the weekend while it moves westward at about 15 miles an hour. That's all the info we have right now, but I guarantee you we'll start paying more attention to our satellite imaging now and the different things that could interfere. The Saharan sand layer or dust layer, upper level winds, things like that. But we're getting into that season that these things are going to ramp up. I want to switch to the National Weather Service. And there's a couple of things about the map. One is the area of extreme heat. We still have those areas, excessive heat warnings through the Phoenix area into Southern California, up into Southern Nevada. You have flash flood warnings here from New Mexico up through Colorado. But again, the heat warnings that have been all across the nation have died out. It's a much cooler day to day. We are at 83, real feel at 91, but compared to 115, can't complain. Light showers moving in and out. But the gray areas, the main reason I'm doing the video, these are air quality alerts, and they go through California, through Oregon, Washington, all the way across the northern sections of the Northwest. Then just as the jet stream is dipping, like we've seen coming south of the Great Lakes, and now that cooler air is pressing even here into central Mississippi, you can see where these gray areas are here along the Texas coast, Dallas-Fort Worth area. You've got them up into Missouri, all along the eastern side of the western side of the Great Lakes. Air quality alerts. Guys, if you click on any of those gray areas on that map that I just showed you, click on your local area, and each one will read differently, but it would take hours for me to read them all the way through. But I want to give you an example of Wisconsin, because there's a lot of that smoke coming out of Canada over that area. And they're saying this is from Air Quality Advisory, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in Madison, Wisconsin. It's relayed by the National Weather Service out of the Twin Cities. It came out at 12 p.m. Central Time today. It's issued for the northern half of Wisconsin. It says the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has issued an air quality advisory for particle pollution, which will remain in effect again until 12 noon tomorrow. This advisory affects people in Douglas, Bayfield, Ashland, Iron, Vilas, Barnett, Washburn. Goes through all of the different areas and counties. Smoke from wildlife activity in Canada is currently impacting northern Minnesota and Wisconsin and is expected to slowly spread east, southeast today into Wednesday afternoon. Elevated fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, concentrations are anticipated to result in air quality index AQ1 values in the unhealthy for sensitive groups over this period. Sensitive groups include children, elderly people, individuals with respiratory and cardiac problems, and anyone engaged in strenuous outdoor activities for a prolonged period of time. Now, guys, that PM 2.5, the particle, the density in the particles in a given space is what they're talking about. But let me tell you this, some of the areas are going to be worse than others because you saw how that smoke was drifting in the last video I talked about. You could see different valleys that were really thicker where the smoke was trapped in those areas. So just pay very close attention to it and be prepared for it. At least a bandana maybe if you need it, or some type of particulate mask. Now this is taking a wide view, looking at an infrared and a satellite image more or less overlaid. But you've got the smoke coming out of California, Oregon. Guys, there's a new, larger fire in California now than there has been in the last week or so. And it's very close to the west coast, near the border with Oregon. We'll look at that closer. But all of this is being pushed up into the airstream. It's combining with all of the smoke that's really piling up, coming out of these large Canadian wildfires and coming across the Great Lakes. And here, this is Wisconsin, where we just read that alert out of. There, a lot of it's trapped in that area because of maybe this cooler air that has pushed south, and you can see this boundary at the bottom of the jet stream dip. But that may have some effect on the smoke. It's not as hot, but guys, along this line, and you can see it almost at the central part of Lake Michigan right there, very close to the central part. There's a very heavy layer, and that extends all the way across the Great Lakes this way, northern part of the U.S., part of Canada, and is being pushed out into the Atlantic by this front that we see moving up the East Coast. Now, looking closer at this particular image, you've got Northern California, you've got Oregon, Nevada, you've got Utah to your right. But this fire here, we were dealing with, what was it called, guys? Boot Hill Fire was that in Oregon, but it was in this area of California. Now look at this, breaking out here and here. This is all being pushed up across Oregon at this point. And I can't help but point out the drought conditions. And I don't think that everyone's being told the entire truth in the western states about the water situation and how dire it is and how quickly it can get into a serious situation. I'm talking about very quickly if the big lakes and stuff keep receding. But this is a Great Salt Lake here. The blue area, we pointed this out the other day, but now the clouds are not over it. That's the normal or the size of the lake bed, but now the water has receded all through this area, and that's going to affect a tremendous amount of the plant life, animal life, everything in that area. It's kind of its own little zone right there. that is just a sign of the things. But when you get down into the big reservoirs and the turbines and things like that, guys, that feed Vegas and Phoenix, they are in trouble too. So you got to pay attention to it. Be prepared. Start storing up extra water. Fill up your old water bottles and things. Keep them in the freezer for ice, and then you can let that melt. Then that will kind of give you a few days to decide what you need to do. Is it going to continue to be that bad in your area, or you're going to have to migrate? Video a month or so ago, I titled The Great Migration. I said there will be a greater migration from west to east because of the water and the drought than there was from east to west during the not only the gold rush in California, but during the moderate minimum, I think it was, when we had a year without a summer. It was so cold, crops failed, and snow was all across the Northeast. They couldn't plant. Animals, livestock were dying off. Many migrated from east to west then, but I think we're going to see a reverse migration at this time. With this front that you see moving across here, that did deliver some moisture. If you could get more of that, that would help a lot. But it was short-lived, but there was some flooding from Arizona and other places north. And there's still some flash flood warnings out in those areas, so pay attention. But guys, the fires, if you look to the right of this front, they're all the way from the north down into the Great Lakes themselves. Here in the lighter gray smoke, here. And what's happened is, yesterday the wind was going from the top to the bottom of this, or from north to south. Overnight it started going back north, but now you see that direction changing. Watch this. From north, now it's starting to turn. It's going to get wrapped up in this front, which is diving south as far as the outward edge of it goes. So all of this that has been there, and you kind of had somewhat of a break overnight, it's just going to start piling back up. But if you watch the concentrations here, check this out, moving down. All of that's pulling into the U.S. That's why I read the Wisconsin air quality alert. Really getting piled on. Now, zooming in on the Great Lakes themselves, Wisconsin is here to your left of Lake Michigan. They are in bad shape there, and it's being kind of trapped right here between the cooler air to the south and this front that's pushing it down. And the jet stream itself that's carrying a lot of this is very strong. You can see it diving into this bottom left corner here and rising back out in the bottom right corner there. That's going to keep some of this from the south, but it's going to compile it on you guys in the northeast, because you're going to have what's trapped inside this front and what you see coming. And now we're starting to see the turning of the wind back to the south, but all the way across the screen from the left side all the way through the center part of Lake Michigan, continuing out the east side of this, or to the right side in this image. That's a lot of smoke, guys. That's a lot of smoke, and it's not good. It seems like there could be more done in Canada. I know it's not as populated in a lot of the areas that these fires are coming from, but it just seems like they're out of control, and maybe there's not that much effort being put into stopping. I don't know if it's impossible to do at this point, but it is very dangerous for our health. We're watching it, guys, and let me point something out. Tina has a new video up on her YouTube channel. That's my wife, Mrs. BP. It's called Tina's Country Kitchen is the name of the channel. Many of you know of it. But she took the time today and made some homemade tomato pasta soup that is one of my favorites, has been for years. A lot of you guys have enjoyed those videos and the recipes. And it's southern homemade cooking, most of the stuff you're going to have. But check out the latest video she has. Again, it's called Homemade Tomato Pasta Soup. Check that out.